All right. Let's get to it. Let's get to this wild and interesting painting. What is this painting? This is a painting of the artist currently known as Sun Diaz. Sun Diaz. And we're gonna do this painting. Been through so many versions of this in the past day or two. It's just like such an interesting painting because it's done on. She's literally laying on garbage bags. So I have all this black space. And I gotta figure out what to do with it. Should I keep it? Or what? Some decisions must be made. Let me get some of my rags. I need to switch up. Get some new rags. We'll be holding for a minute as I clean up my space. Dried up sponge. Get my paints, my rags. All right. And now let's go. Where do I want to go with this? So part of the challenge comes from some of this being a little bit too wet right now. So some of this paint is probably still going to be wet and sticky, and hasn't really had full enough time to dry to be able to work on another layer. But part of it should still be workable. So let's go ahead and just work it where we can. And let's go. Let's start to add some color into the body here. It's not as pale as it seems on in this video. Let's see right here. No, that's a little bit too. Let's give her some yellow. Honestly, this brush is probably a little too rough. I want something a little bit gentler as I paint the face. So that's gonna drop down there. just the right brush for this activity here. Let's brush some of these details in. Just to give her skin, you know, her complexion a little bit more color here. Otherwise she starts to look a little bit too pale. And you know what I should do? I should grab some of this, let's grab some of this drying up rose here. This tube is quickly drying because there's a hole in it, so I need to get used to it. Sketcher Sumit. Sketcher, what's up, Sketcher Sumit? Welcome. Welcome. Is it Sketcher saying something in a language that I don't know, but I do want to acknowledge that he's saying that. So thank you, Sketcher, for contributing your thoughts to this conversation. Really appreciate it. Your words are very welcome here, so long as they're appropriate. I can't tell if they're appropriate because it's not in English or regular English. Maybe it is English because English letters. But they're just organized in a way that I don't know. So that doesn't mean that you're not speaking English, right? It just means that you're organizing letters in a very unusual way. To me, unusual to me. It might be normal to you, so I can't really call it unusual. I'm trying to be culturally considerate of people. And, you know, I usually get a lot of viewers from India in the mornings. Viewers from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, during these morning streams. So I can only guess that's maybe where you're from. Just my guess. Could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Won't be the first time I've been wrong. So Sumit says, Sumit is fine. Which painting did I create now? So this is a painting of an artist known as Sun Diaz. So Sun Diaz is a performance artist on Instagram. She does these really wild and bizarre acts. Like she'll sit in the lake and eat bread. She'll be sitting in the lake eating bread, but you know, the bread gets in the water in the lake, which is absolutely just pretty gross, right? So she's definitely a little bit of an unusual, atypical artist. We're gonna add some color around the hand here. Let's go. Go like that. Now, yo, what's up, Omizu? Now you're gonna create a sketch of Radha Ranjiji. Radha Raniji. Who is Radha Raniji? Alexa, who is Radha Raniji?
From Quora.com. Radharani is the avatar of Goddess Lakshmi.
Ah, you're gonna paint the goddess. Fantastic. Wow. There you go. Well, I'm sure your parents and family will be very happy. Or whoever. If you're an adult, then you probably don't need to worry about that. So we're just basically right now painting some extra color into her face, into her skin. I started with a base white. I don't usually do that. But I did. So now we're working some color into her face and all the other parts of her body. Is she a model, artist, or both? You know, honestly, I'm not sure if if she considers herself a model. Maybe she considers a model, but I think if you look at her account, Sonia Sun Yadze or Sun Diazi, I don't know how to pronounce it. If you actually look at her account, you'll be like, oh, okay, she's probably not a model. She's probably, I mean, in a sense, she's a model, right? But I think the truth of it is she's mostly an artist. Very bizarre. Not in the art world, not too bizarre in the art world, but very, as far as art is concerned, I think she takes a lot of risks for the sake of art. So there's that. Cindy Sherman. Hey, Sumit, take care, dude. Thanks for jumping in. Cindy Sherman. Okay, so you took a look at her profile, and are you saying that she's, do you think she took her ideas from Cindy Sherman, or do you think this artist is fairly original? Do you feel like Sun Diaz is fairly original in her work? Because I'm not familiar with Cindy Sherman, so. The work of Cindy Sherman. Yeah, yesterday after I painted this, I painted way too thick. So now I'm regretting my choices. Sometimes it's really hard to like, separate yourself from your natural habit. Even though, historically the way oil is supposed to be painted is like really, really thin layers, right? Just thin layer on top of thin layer on top of thin layer. But I have not been following those standards. Sometimes to my own detriment, sometimes to positive effect. Cindy uses herself as a model in her own work. That is the only connection you're making. Oh, okay. I see. All right, let's we're gonna bring our eyebrows a little closer together. Just a little bit closer into her nose. Makes her nose. We're just gonna reduce the width of her nose a little bit. Her nose looks a little too wide right here, so. By the way, Amisa, out of the two books that you recommended to me that I got, the the contemporary theories and the shapes book, I just gotta say, the sacred geometry book, I just gotta say that the contemporary theory, you're like 1 out of 2 as far as books that I'm like, okay, this is a great informative book. You're 1 out of 2. 1 out of 2. Which is a good ratio. 50% of the books that you recommend to me are a hit. Resonate with me. All right, let's get some pink. So when are you going to do that reading series? I will say my experience with doing reading series is they're not very successful, but it is fun. My first YouTube videos are just me reading books, and I get a lot out of it, even if it doesn't really bring all the views to the yard. Reading books doesn't bring the viewers to the yard, but it sure is rewarding. Who likes to read books? Nobody reads any books. I'm trying to do my best not to cover this screen, but like getting up here is really rough. Can everybody see? I'm just painting this minor detail up here. I gotta stand on my tippy toes. Maybe I should just move the canvas here. Yeah, let me just pop this down. Drop it down a little bit. That's a little better. Yeah, why didn't I think of that earlier? Because I wasn't working on it like this earlier. That's why. All right, let's start to add some color to her flesh here. Some more flesh tones. Give it some pink. I mean, in this photo, she really does look fairly pale. And I don't mean that in like, you know, in a negative way. Just like as far as the contrast between the space around her body and the details that I'm seeing. Just not. Oh, is there a good amount of color? I don't know. It's hard to say. But she's definitely not gray. And one thing. Amisa says, he has a hard time wanting to criticize younger artists. You don't want to come off as discouraging. Omizu, if you ever are capable of discouraging me, I'll give you a prize. If Omizu one day is able to discourage me, I will give a prize. That is a challenge to you. I don't know what that prize is, but if that were possible, Omizu made it possible. Give Omizu a prize. Because that would be a feat. That would be a feat, my friend. Go like this. I'm gonna bring this around. And let's see, like this. This hand is just so weird, right? This arm. She's obviously standing sideways. Let's see if we can start to tighten things up by by adding some of the details around. We're gonna go. Let's find a nice flat brush here. It's a good flat brush. Do you ever look at your brushes and go, I'm missing a brush? Ah, nope, not missing a brush. Just couldn't find it. I'm a lost cause in that sense. So what is I take on the quote I mentioned the other day? What is my take on the quote? What quote are you talking about? Oh, the one about you don't need motivation, you need more about what other people bring to the table. You know, I think it's two parts. My take on that is two parts. I think the first part is the idea that you are, a combination of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So, instantly, if you are able to surround yourself by people that bring more to the table, you're instantly, it's just automatic. It is truth. It might not be a scientifically proven fact, but it, is widely accepted, and you can find so many examples that you become like the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So, I think there's that element of it, right? If you raise your standards of what the people around you bring to the table, I think that that's important. And then two, there's so there's just that effect, right? It's the effect of what people around you bring to the table and how that raises your standards in general. And then there's the other factor. The other factor simply being like, if you demand more from others, you'll probably get more from others. Right? It's one of those things. So here we go. It's a fact of life that what you demand from others, you will receive, or what you ask of others. Not always, but like what you ask of life, you surely will receive. Right? It's one of those fancy schmancy quotes. So that's what I think it means. Get this as a nice bright highlight color. I'm gonna come down and you're wondering what the context for the quote was. It makes a little more sense put that way. So the context was this guy named Ty Lopez. I follow him. He's a little bit of a controversial guy. He's a entrepreneur that he's the entrepreneur that takes photos in front of his Lamborghini, and that's how he got like super famous and started selling courses and stuff. So he's that guy. And I follow him on social media, but he as much as all of that brings the ire of the internet, as much as that type of photos, paint selfies in front of a Lambo, as much as that actually brings the ire of the entire internet, I think that he is a pretty successful entrepreneur and he knows what he's doing, what he's talking about. So that said, I think there's validity into what he does and says. So this brush won't cut it. This brush is not going to cut it. Let's find a brush that will cut it. So let's grab our white. Create these white yellow highlights above her head. Capture light in the field here. But it was just a good quote that I heard that was like good to share, you know, that I thought I'd share with you in that moment because I think I literally saw it just before I got into your live stream. So, you know, it's super top of mind. It wasn't meant to be like, hey, Omizu, you should ponder on this core Koran. Kora. There's like a Japanese or Buddhist story. I forget what it's called. It's called a Koran or Kwaran or something. I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically a story that you're supposed to reflect on, but you know, never really get the answer for. Is it a koan? A koan. Koan is the term for it. Koan. Koan. And let's see, we're gonna go around. I don't want to paint into the bags yet because the bags are really wet paint here. Michael Wilbur is still obsessed with me painting from my imagination. You know, there is according to ChatGPT, there is a theory on modern art where art has to consider all of the social interactions that come in with it. I can't remember the name of it. And what if, I thought the other day, what if this is, you know, me using references and like painting people that I recognize? Like, what if that is just my way, that, like, proving that theory, right? Like that theory of just the fact that this is how I'm interacting with the world. Huh? Doesn't that make this more beautiful though? This idea that I'm simply interacting with others by painting them with other artists. Michael really just wants me to paint him. No, this is not someone else's painting. This is my painting. It's someone else's photo. I'm painting a photo. I don't know what you mean. Michael Wilbur just wants me to be like, yo, Michael, why don't you send me a photo of you and I'll paint you? Is that what you really want, Michael? I think I already painted like an imaginary version of Michael before. We're all part of the algorithm stuck in a matrix. It's a copy of someone else's work. You're right. It is a copy. It's an interpretation. It's not a copy. A copy would be another photograph. It's an interpretation. Name one great artist that hasn't done a copy or an interpretation of someone else's work. Name one great artist after the year 1500. Name one great artist after the year 1500 that didn't just copy someone else's work. I bet you can't. No, Michael Wilbur, you're copying somebody. I know you're copying somebody. You're copying the landscape guy. You said you were at Yellowstone the other day. Someone maintains the landscape at Yellowstone. The park guard actually probably goes there once a year and, you know, gets rid of trash, cleans up the trees. Maybe some of them are even planted. Somebody. You're copying the landscape guy. Well, there you go. You're copying the bison people. And again, I said name one artist that has never copied from someone or interpreted something by someone. So my question to you is, have you never copied ever from anyone or any idea? I highly doubt it. You must have copied a Bob Ross painting at one day in your life. I don't believe it, Michael. I just don't believe it. Never. Alright, well, I guess I can't really call Michael a liar because he's the #1 viewer right now, so. Alright, well, good job, Michael. But I like how Michael is establishing himself as a great artist, because my question was, name one great artist that has never copied anyone. And I don't think there's a single great artist, except maybe Michael Wilbur. Michael Wilbur says he has never sold a painting, but you have sold lots of Wilburs. There you go. That's wonderful, Michael. Very, very wonderful that you've sold many Wilburs. I love the discourse we have. Great discourse. I might have to go in a minute, by the way. Heyo. Ooh. How are you? Good. Painting. You got me a coffee?
Yeah.
Okay, when do we need to leave here?
Well, it starts at 11:30.
So right now?
No, it could be 11.
So 45 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Alright, cool.
Yeah. Do some things, chores.
Yeah.
All these chores.
Alright, let me. So I have about 40 minutes before we need to wrap up. But Kat has brought me a coffee, everyone. Yay! Kathleen.
You guys miss the babies. I miss the babies. Here you go.
Oh, thanks. Can you pull the thing out, please?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Is it just regular black coffee?
No, it has almond milk.
Look at that, Starbucks. Brought to you by Starbucks.
Hey, what do you have? What do you have? Give me that. What is it? Is that that big stuff? Not fighting it.
She's fighting with the cat. Cat is fighting with the cat, people.
I got it. She had a paper clip that I used to hang up the calendar.
Oh. Oh yeah, it fell last night. I didn't know.
How to hang it up?
I just didn't.
Yes, you do.
I just picked it up because I was in the middle of something.
Okay, that's fine. But yeah, Pookie grabbed this paper clip I use as a hanger.
She wanted to play with you.
No, she wanted to take it.
Yeah, but she hasn't played since you got home.
Oh, like that.
Like she just started getting playful.
Okay. Okay. Chicken wings.
Dude, Amiza, that's a pretty good idea. Mailing painting to random address to get your work around the world. That's actually kind of cool. That's a, I mean, as far as art is concerned, I mean, the only catch is trying to find people that actually like art.
Hi, Pookie. I'm sorry.
You got to find an area where people actually can like art. You know? That's the catch. Because if you mail it to like some grumpy guy in the middle of like, nowhere, and they just throw away your painting.
Look at her.
Oh, look at her. She's looking on top of the cat. She's so big. She's getting big, girl. Pookie, you getting big, little lady. Big lady. The big lady
Happy
Pookie.
that the kittens are gone?
She
Yeah.
is. Yes, she
Is she?
is. You can tell she is. She is not a cat person.
She isn't. She's not a cat. Okay.
She's not a cat.
Are we leaving windows open or?
I was thinking giving it a couple hours because it doesn't get above 80 until like afternoon.
Okay. Sorry. It's underfoot. You can hiss at me all you want, but if you're underfoot and I don't see you, you're gonna get sick. Silly thing. You're a silly. Who haven't I talked to? I didn't talk to Simba. Hi, Simba.
Here's a better idea, Omizu.
Hi.
Well, actually, I'm not going to say better or worse because, it sounds like you have an idea in your head. But what about actually, rather than saying a better idea, here's an addition. Look specifically for areas where, people might be able to afford and buy your work. I don't know.
Where are you?
I mean, that's really thinking from a marketing perspective. If you're thinking from an artistic perspective, I mean, you can go anywhere with this, right? Like, if you really just want to do it for the sake of sharing art, that's totally different. But if you want to do it and, like, have a little marketing strategy behind it, that's actually kind of cool. I like that idea. I approve.
Hi.
I approve, Omizu. I approve of your strategy.
Yum.
What's that? Did you say numb?
I said a good cup of coffee. Yum. I had to just cook my coffee the third world way.
You had to cook it in third world?
In the third world way,
Which is like what?
put it in a pot of water, let it boil, and then let it sit there a little bit until all the grounds fall to the bottom of the pot and drink it.
So cowboy coffee.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
That's not third world.
What is it?
It's rough
Riders Coffee?
rough riding.
Well, certainly it's have the same flavor. This one has caffeine. Look at tasty.
Would I have thought to paint a figure on trash if I had not seen an image of it? if I had sat down in contemplation for 2 hours thinking of something to paint, someone laying on trash would probably be one of the last things I would think of. If I did it all. But would I never think of it? I wouldn't say never. I wouldn't say never, but I also, wouldn't say that it would be like, it would be. I wouldn't try to pretend like it was obvious. Like, yeah, of course I would, think to paint someone laying on trash, right? Like I'd love to pretend like I'm genius enough to come up with this, but I'm not. Let's not pretend here, okay? I'm not a pretend artist. I'm a real artist. I'm a real artist pretending to paint. Just pretending to paint here. Pretending like I know how to paint. So I'm using a wide variety of paints right now. The brush that I'm using for all these effects, because I'm trying to capture a hayfield, and the way I'm doing this is I'm using a an angular brush by Rosemary & Co. This honestly isn't the best brush right now because the background, it's oil paint, so it's still wet, and it's like, the thing about oil paint is there's really like 3 stages of oil paint, right? There's wet, where it's just like totally mixing, still moving around really easily, and then there's totally dry, and then in between there's like this phase where it's really difficult to paint on because it like sticks to your brush. And that, I don't know what the name for that phase is. If we had to make it up, we'd call it like, the sticky phase. The sticky phase of oil paint. It's still sticky, and you can't really paint on it because it catches, and when it catches, it kind of ruins things. So Amizu says, would it look exactly like this if I hadn't seen it? No, it would definitely not look exactly like this. It would look totally different. So anyways, Amizu, where are you trying to go with this? I feel like you're trying to make a point about imagination, but I'm not quite sure exactly what your message is. I'm not quite sure if you're trying to go the Michael Wilbur route and say that this doesn't count as imagination or something. Like, obviously it doesn't count as imagination because I'm painting from a reference, but what's the tacky phase? Yes, that's right. But I'm really just curious if your mode of questioning, your Socratic method right now is leading to an illusion or an allegory or a story, or if you just want to you're just saying things. I mean, I'm diverging. I'm diverging a little bit. There's a little divergence. Not a significant amount, but just, just enough to... Like, obviously this hayfield is diverging. We're diverging, alright? I need a little bit more time to play with the idea. I tried to diverge quite a bit yesterday, but that didn't work. Oh yeah, so you weren't here for this painting yesterday, but I actually made a lot of effort trying to diverge, and it just wasn't looking good. Here's the thing. So yesterday I tried to diverge by going very Francis Bacon. Actually, so you kind of can't tell now, but I actually like swipe the face and swipe the arms and swipe the legs, and actually the pants actually look good, but everything else I was like swiping around. It was making a huge ugly mess. And aesthetically, it just was not very nice. So I tried to go that like Francis Bacon smudging route, and it just didn't work. So I tried to diverge, and now I'm trying to recapture, a little bit of realism, and then I might diverge again. But I'm hoping as well that the using the that tactfully using the background can help me a little bit on that end. The divergence end here. But you know what's great about painting non-artists or non-celebrities, or celebrities that are too high up there, is that they actually respond to your social media posts. So I tagged her in this yesterday, and she already left a comment, which is great. And I wonder, and here's the other thing, like if you ever try to make a deal with a celebrity, like you got to go through an agent, you got to go through a lawyer, you got to go through all these things. But I feel like if you make a deal with someone who's not all the way up there yet, they're probably pretty chill. And I'd probably ask her if I could cut a deal and sell this as a print, and of course give them a cut of it if it sells. Now, of course, if you work with a celebrity, you're gonna have like an immediate audience. So that's the risk you take. You gotta spend your time wisely, of course, right? Michael, you sound like the perfect viral artist. That if you just figured out how to use your camera and set it up for a video, you would be the most viral 70-something-year-old artist on the planet. I think you told me that you were 70-something, right? I shouldn't disclose Michael's age. I just feel like one day you told me you were 70, and if that upsets you that I said that, then my apologies. Just remember you telling me your age was somewhere in that area. I am closer to your age than mine. Maybe. Alright. I have the wisdom of a 70-year-old, but isn't that how people like to live, is have the wisdom of the elders? We all want the wisdom of age, that age brings. Now, if only it was the same thing as being able to tell the future. Which, on one hand, in a sense, you can plan for it, right? Like, you can eat healthy, because you know that that's going to affect you in the future. I can paint, knowing that this is an activity that I can actually carry with me into my 70s, 80s, and still be able to make a business from it.
Why? seeing your brother. Where's your brother then? Oh, where's your brother?
See, look at this line work. Isn't this line work beautiful? People are gonna say, like this is a crazy painting, but look at that brush work. Look at this one confident brush stroke. Look at that. That's a beautiful line right there. This is a beautiful, beautiful line. I like it a lot. That is my line, baby. My line. That's my line. My line. All right. Michael is predicting my future. There we go. I like it. Michael is predicting my future. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for supporting this channel. Thank you for your sharing your psychic visions with me. And you know, I really do appreciate the this.
Hello? Yes.
Don't ruin it by covering up. You know, I didn't really like the last painting, to be honest.
Yes.
That's another reason. I'm not gonna cover up these are new canvases. Well, this is actually a paint over, Omizu. This is a paint over. I don't know if you saw. You were here, right? I thought you were here for at least part of it. But yeah, this is actually a paint over. This is not a new canvas. But Michael's still trying to push me to sell all my paintings for less than $100.
Oh, okay.
Just to dump them.
Only about 3. Oh yeah.
$100. I didn't spend all this time to paint just to sell them for $100. Honestly, I can't either. Like, here's the thing: once you sell your paintings for a certain price, you kind of have like a responsibility to those people that already bought your painting for those prices to, you know, not just try to like dump your paintings. Now I can dump my junk paintings, which, you know, I guess that's what Michael's saying. I'm kind of twisting Michael's words a little bit, but you know, by interpreting it as selling all your paintings for really cheap, which is not what Michael's saying. But I definitely feel like I have a responsibility, you know, like for people that have paid for my previous paintings and paid premiums, you know. I could dump the junk, but at the same time, you know, really want to preserve the value. It's important. Gotta preserve the value for sure. Yeah, I have been starting lots of new ones. I have definitely started lots of new paintings.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
Alright, so here we go. We're gonna come like boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. the extra paintings laying around the apartment. I don't know, Michael. I'm not convinced. You got to share with me. If your 10-year plan is better than my 10-year plan, I might consider it.
Hey, dishes. Okay, making dishes here? Dishes here?
I'm just trying to create a certain type of surface quality by continuing to paint over the old ones. That is true. It's both like a surface quality thing. Honestly, this painting, if we're really thinking about it, the surface quality of this painting is really flat, so it's not quite capturing the same thing that I usually, when you talk about that, like the roughness, the textured roughness. So if we're really being honest about this painting, I wasn't really thinking about that. But some paintings I do. Some paintings that is a quality that I try to aim for. But not this one, because this one does not have a surface quality. I don't know. I can't disclose that information, Michael. There are only a few paintings in my apartment that are not sold. Cat's like, that's absurd. You got way too many. Don't give it away, Cat. Okay?
I'm not.
Don't give away my secrets.
I'm not.
I know. I'm just pestering you.
Is being quite the little villain.
Huh?
Being quite the little villain.
Michael, were you a manager of a factory before you became an artist? I feel like Michael was a factory manager at one point in his life. Rather than like and I'm not saying that negatively, but the way you talk about selling art and just dumping them, just selling them for cheap, just so you could get rid of them. That just to me sounds like the advice of like a manager who's responsible for keeping the inventory in a store flowing. Michael's the owner of a store. All right, let's actually use some of this color, by the way. I got this great, I got this brand, Chauvin. My ruler.
Oh, it's you. Okay.
I got this brand called Chauvin. Charvin from Paris. Charvin, Paris. Let's see if it's actually made in Paris. Ah, it's made in France. Wow, I've got oil paint made from France. Fabriqué en France. Fabriqué en France. Let's use this painting. Fabriqué en France. And let's bring in some more yellow ochre here. No, actually I have plenty of yellow ochre. I want the yellows to stand out, so let's grab a nice Fabrique en France. honestly, I'm not a hoarder at all. I'm not a hoarder. I'm totally willing to give up all my paintings, but only for the right price. And at the same time, you know, between painting and you know various side jobs, and I don't know, it's hard to get into all the shows that I want to go. And then you gotta, you know, build up that reputation. Gotta build up a reputation. I appreciate the guidance, though, Michael. I appreciate it. I do. I might not listen to you. You might have to do, you know, you might have to spend the next 10 years of your life until you're 80 to convince me to do something. But you know, that'll give you something to do over the next 10 years. Is because over the next 10 years, my goal is to get 10,000 hours of live stream painting. That's one of my goals. Now, obviously, my goals go beyond that, but that's one of my personal goals is 10 years, 10,000 hours. So I have about 9,000 hours to go. A little under 9. I think like 8,500 hours. I estimate it'll take me about 10 years of consistent artist to do.
Hi, Fern. Sitting on the box, I'm gonna look through. That's okay. Those are yeah.
Soon tight. Wow. It's a powerful sneeze, babe.
I like that. That's refreshing. Yeah. Take them out. You gotta come out. Get that big body out of there.
Michael says he's been painting since he was 2 years old. Wow, Michael's been painting for 68 years.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Michael? I've been painting since I was in the fetus, okay? I've been painting since my last 100 lives in reincarnation. So I've been painting since I was there when the caveman put his handprint. I know his name. His name was that guy's name was Don't you forget it. Huh? No, it was a his name was So Michael, you're just don't forget his name. We didn't have language back then, so he couldn't sign it, so he just left the handprint. He could have left the sound, he would. Omizu says the pedigrees frequently in this channel is incomprehensible. That's right. You can't even begin to comprehend the pedigrees here.
Okay.
Because it's all made up, right? I think everyone here just makes up their own story. Except Omizu. Omizu is the only truly authentic, honest artist in this live stream.
Can I brush you?
Michael Wilbur, myself, we're just
Sure, come here.
we're just
Let me brush you.
in our own worlds.
Don't be scared of it. It's gonna get all that loose fur off. No?
Well, Mizu is an authentic voice. Misu's saying I should be so fortunate. Have I ever not been grateful for the pedigree of people that comes into this live stream? I don't think so. I've always been highly in awe of the people that attend these live streams. Always. I am in awe. From talented young artists that, you know, that just want to, like, from all over the world to adult artists. Not so much adult artists. I feel like there's a very limited amount of, like, adult artists that I actually chat with on a live stream. I think adult artists are all doing their own thing. They're already painting or, like,
Is that good or not?
you know, they don't go on YouTube. I don't know. Instagram is a great place to connect with adult artists. I am always grateful for all the wonderful pedigrees of people in this live stream. I'm very aware. You know, Michael's got 78 years of painting experience.
That's it.
Lisa, are you criticizing my math?
I brush you.
No, you know what? I'm already just foreseeing that. I'm just imagining that Michael Wilbur's 80, okay? That's
scary.
Michael Wilbur said number 80.
Try something else?
If we just imagine Michael Wilbur 10 years from now, he'll have 78 years of experience. I'm forecasting that Michael Wilbur will live beyond 80. He said that he's going to try to live to 80, but Michael Wilbur will live a very long, fruitful, prosperous life beyond 80. He's going to be making paintings in Yellowstone way beyond that, so I'm just forecasting ahead of time. That's why I said 78. And then after that, who knows, but...
It does. Burns. Not supposed to be brushed.
This is some really strong coffee, Starbucks. Jeez.
Is it?
My brain is on overdrive right now.
Drink it all? Or just
No, I mean, I'm almost done, but...
It's regular coffee.
Yeah, I know, but I guess I haven't been drinking much coffee lately.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, you need to tweak a little bit.
She got me a large.
No, it's not. That's a grande.
Well, it looks like a large.
It's not.
It's a large coffee to
Larges
me.
are large.
You're not allowed to correct me on this channel. Everything I say is correct. Nothing I say is ever wrong. See, this is how you cover up an arm. You make it look like, you know, there's supposed to be a wreath. There you go. I think my hands are starting to look pretty normal now, considering all this. It would be miraculous if you made it 100 years after your birth year. Well, here, let's take this idea that we're going with, and let's just pretend that you were 100 years old right now, you know, just pretend to be your 100-year-old self. What would you want yourself to do right now? What would you ask yourself to do at this very moment? I was reading this great book. It's called Be Your Future Self Now. I highly recommend it. It's a motivational book, but it basically is based on this idea that, like, all this is in the original image. Yes, I mean, yeah, it's an interpretation of the original image, yes. So, Omizu, am I being original? No. I am merely painting what I see. And again, anybody who wants to see the original image, I don't want to share. The only reason I don't want to share the original image here is because it's by another artist. And I don't always do this, but because it's an influencer, I do want to give them credit and say this. Like, if you want to see the original image, go to their social media at SONDIAZE. So if you want to see the original image, if you're really that curious about how the original image looks like, please check out the social media. You can find it. And yes, so they're performance artists. They do really weird, wacky things. I say weird in an artistic sense, and you know, in a good way, artistically good way. And let's see. So we've got this. We got the little wreath covering up the hand here. Made some progress. Let's go. I got my 5-minute warning, which means we gotta sign off here. And this is one of those images where if you go on your social media, you will immediately recognize it. So it's not like you'll immediately recognize it because this is pretty close to the original image. As close as you can possibly get with, you know, a loosely painted painting. But I just got a 5-minute warning, so we're getting ready to wrap up here. We're cleaning off our brush supplies with cleaning off our brushes so that we may use them another day. If you don't clean your brushes, you might not be able to use them another day. Isn't that outrageous? The great thing about oil is that you have like a 1 or 2 day window with which to clean your brushes. But if you the bad thing about oil is if you forget in those 1 or 2 days, your brush is totally destroyed. Maybe not totally, but like you pretty much have like 1 or 2 days before it totally dries and totally ruins your brush. Now, I don't know if that's the same for acrylic. I don't know exactly how acrylic, you know, if you let your paint dry, because acrylic dries in like 10 minutes, right? So I don't actually know what happens if you don't clean off your brush with acrylic. And what that, you know, that entails. But I pretty much clean off my brush after between every paint color change. And even then, I mean, that's not enough. I think I'm really rough with my brushes too, so they don't really last. But over time, I get better. But here's what I noticed though, is if I paint every day and I like keep a good flow of my brushes, if I keep my brushes changing and flowing and all that, then I won't have any issues. But if I, you know, don't paint for like a week, my brushes tend to start to lose their brushiness. And I love using these rags. So they say that these rags are almost like cloth, but they're, they last a while. They do the job. I got like 1,000 of them. Michael says, get rid of the junk. That's a takeaway from today's stream. Thank you. Get rid of the junk. Fantastic. Get rid of the junk. I don't have any junk. That's what I should have said. I got no junk. All my paintings are masterpieces. All of them. All of them. All right, did I clean up everything? My brushes are cleaned. Yes. All right, we're gonna get ready to go now. Let's wrap up our things here. And let's go. Yes.